In the comments of my first video review of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I was asked a question about my thoughts on Season 6's Normal Again. I responded, as all good YouTubers do, but feel like I owe this viewer a full video as a thank you. So Jock ZZ1, this one is for you. So, a quick recap of where the gang are at when this episode aired. Xander left Anya at the altar and both are missing. Willow is in recovery from magic abuse and trying to repair her relationship with Tara. Dawn is being, well, Dawn. And Buffy has finally ended her relationship with Spike. The episode opens with Andrew summoning a waxy looking demon onto an unsuspecting Buffy.
You didn't by chance happen to just eat a couple nerds, did you?
The demon injects Buffy and there is a reality shift to an asylum where she is being given meds by two orderlies. As openers go, this is definitely one of the most bizarre and intriguing of the season. When I first saw this episode, over 20 years ago, damn I'm old, I remember sitting bolt upright and literally shouting at my TV. Willow is loitering outside of one of Tara's classes and catches a glimpse of Tara having a friendly hello with another woman. She bottles it and skedaddles out of there without finding out the context of the affection. Now, to be fair to Willow, if I had destroyed my relationship through substance abuse and manipulation, I'd be paranoid that my ex had deservedly moved on too. Buffy is working a shift at the Double Meat Palace, and this expression right here is so relatable to any of us that have worked or are still working in the fast food sector. Buffy's manager calls her over and we get another shift to the asylum.
It's time for your drugs.
Buffy tries to reassure Willow about her relationship with Tara, and Xander finally shows his face and expresses his concern about Anya's well-being.
There's a close sign on the magic box, which, chills me to the bone.
What a prince. Later that night, Buffy and Spike share a conversation about Xander's wedding. Xander and Spike exchange words. Nothing new there. Buffy collapses and we're back in the asylum. A terrified Buffy huddles in a corner and Joyce and Buffy's dad are reintroduced.
Welcome home, sweetie.
The reality shift weakens Buffy and the Scoobies take her home. Buffy confesses that she has been having flashes about being in an institution.
Then it was like... No, it wasn't like I was in an institution.
The demon's venom has worked its way into Buffy's subconscious and is playing on what she is currently yearning for. Her mum alive, her dad actually caring, and a way out of her Slayer life and responsibilities as Dawn's guardian. As children, many of us eagerly anticipate growing up, believing it to be a magical time when we can finally do whatever we want without the constraints of childhood. However, the reality of adulthood is far more intricate than we initially perceive it to be. As we grow older and become more immersed in the world around us, we begin to feel burdened by the responsibilities that come with it. Life can take a toll on us and wear us down if we fail to seek assistance. And as Giles states later in the season,
sometimes the most adult thing you can do is ask for help when you need it.
Buffy has been feeling this way ever since being resurrected. Her depression, PTSD of being ripped out of heaven and being forced to climb out of her own grave, and to her own detriment, her dependence solely on herself, has made her feel she can't open up to anyone about how lost and isolated she is feeling right now. Willow finds some information on the demon and tells Buffy there's a cure to its venom. Buffy finally reveals to Willow that she feels broken.
I've been so detached. Every day I try to snap out of it. Figure out why I'm like that.
This is quite a huge step for Buffy, as she has been bottling everything up ever since her resurrection and hasn't shared with her friends exactly how she's been feeling. Buffy then admits to Willow that she was put into an institution when she very first saw a vampire.
I told my parents, and they completely freaked out. They thought there was something seriously wrong with me. So they sent me to a clinic.
Now, this whole conversation has been extremely divisive amongst fans of the show. I have a tendency to brush it off as a throwaway line because it could ruin the show's continuity, if I let it. Although there was a statement by Joyce in season 2.
No, this is insane. Buffy, you need help.
I'm not crazy!
And it was made clear throughout the show's run that when it came to anything mystical, normal, unexposed people have a tendency to forget what they've seen.
Forget.
Maybe this is what happened with Buffy's parents as the reason for admitting her was to do with vampires. Who the hell knows? I just tend to ignore it. Xander and Spike go on the hunt for the demon.
Oh, balls, you didn't say it was a gloggle gashmanik.
Because I can't say gloggle.
And Dawn goes to see Buffy. Buffy has another reality spasm and tells Dawn that she's not her sister.
It's your ideal reality. and I'm not even a part of it.
Dawn's comment about not being in Buffy's delusion is both irritating and self-centered. Although I empathise with Dawn's plight throughout the season, I feel like this little outburst of hers is spitting in the face of all of her feelings they had worked through a few episodes earlier. I don't think the writers had a good grasp on who she was after season 5, or how to deal with her during season 6. And it's a shame, because they managed to handle adolescence so well in the earlier seasons of Buffy, but this just seems like they have no idea how to write somebody dealing with childhood trauma. The gang then brew up an antidote for Buffy. Spike actually gives some sound advice in his own selfish, unique way, followed by a ridiculous threat that pushes Buffy over the edge and makes her dispose of the antidote.
Let yourself live already. And stop with the bloody hero trip for a sec. We'd all be the better for it. You either tell your friends about us, or I will.
Buffy comes to the conclusion that her delusion is a far better alternative to her life right now. This scene alone is a perfect way to show how depression can splinter a person's mind, where any fantasy can be better than the hell you are forced to live through every day. Buffy's delusion convinces her that the only way to get healthy is to get rid of her friends.
You understand? There are things in that world you cling to. For your delusion, they're safe holes, but for your mind, they're traps. We have to break those down.
Slay?
Yes. I'm talking about those things you want there. What keeps you going back.
My friends.
That's right.
So one by one, she starts the process of removing the people she loves from her life and unleashes the demon on them. Tara shows up and tries to help, and you know, I don't think Tara ever gets the credit she deserves here. She's not a fighter by any means, but her bravery here to help the one she cares about is immeasurable. Buffy has another hallucination, and what I love here is that it's the hallucination of Joyce that actually snaps Buffy out of it. The grief of losing her mother and in turn having to take on the matriarch responsibilities has been weighing on Buffy for some time, and the wise words from Joyce and how even beyond the grave she still believes in her daughter gives Buffy the strength to take her first step into dealing with her trauma.
I know you're afraid. I know the world feels like a hard place sometimes, but you've got people who love you. Your dad and I, we have all the faith in the world in you. We'll always be with you. You've got a world of strength in your heart. I know you do. You just have to find it again. Believe in yourself.
A quick note about this end scene. Another one I take with a pinch of salt. I know this was just the creators trying to mess with us and leave us thinking about what the hell we just watched. I love it and hate it at the same time. It was topic of discussion for me back in my late teens with a fair few of my friends, and we were left speculating for some time whether the Buffy creators were actually going to end the entire series like this, where it was all just in her head and she was just in an asylum. Thank God that they did not go down that route. The original question I was asked was this episode brilliant or lazy? To be honest with you, I don't think it's either. It's not one of the better episodes of this season, but it is definitely not lazy writing. It's a perfect parallel to how far a person's mind will go to disassociate itself from trauma. Depression is a tricky thing. It shows itself in many shapes and forms. It'll make you say and do things that normally you would never do. It'll make you push the ones you care about away because you feel like a burden, but you are not a burden. You are loved, and there will always be someone there to hand you a light during your darkest days. And if you need to get something off your chest or just to talk about how you're feeling right now, feel free to use the comment section below. My comment section is a safe space. Like so many others out there, I understand, and I'm here for you all. Thank you for making it to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.